Good evening. How is everybody? Merry Christmas to you. I am so happy to be here and just to be alive, to be in this moment, to share in this exciting time of year, just to feel the energy going on all around me, and hopefully everyone is in a safe, positive space. Something that I have been thinking about and feeling to share with you is just really more along the lines of some basic thoughts when we look at our own nutrition. And I think many times there is not necessarily enough emphasis on some of these foundational practices that we can do to help build a good foundation for ourselves. And so I just thought to quickly review with you some things that you can do to just help get your body in a more ideal state. And they're very simple things, basically just focusing on good nutrition. Again, I talked about a couple videos ago, making sure that we're eating things that are alive, things that are going to bring life force energy into our bodies. This is very important, and this is a great first step, is just focusing more on less processed foods, focusing to find more alive foods to help bring our soul more benefit. Another thing that we can do is making sure that we're getting adequate sleep. Something that sticks with me is knowing that if we go to bed anything before midnight, I believe every hour before midnight that we get to sleep counts as double. So say you go to bed at 10 p.m., basically those hours 10 p.m. to midnight count as 4 hours of sleep to our body versus just 2. And that's a great way to maximize the amount of effect we get from the sleep, is be sure that we're getting to bed before midnight. Other things that we can do would be to make sure that we're getting enough vitamins and minerals. I know with a lot of what's going on in the atmosphere around us right now, things like vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc, these things are very critical building blocks to our bodies, and many times a lot of us are very deprived. I've come across quite a few people who had their vitamin D level in single digits when ideally it should be at least 50, I think it's milliliters per liter. I'm not quite sure. I forget always how we measure vitamin D, but I know that the level should really be 50 or greater, whatever it is that they measure. I should look that up to know more effectively. But again, if we've got single digits going on, that's really setting us up to be sick later in life. We're opening the door up to a lot more geriatric conditions to start to happen to us in the negative. And I didn't realize vitamin D played such a critical role in things like that, but it does. So just make sure you're getting enough of those things. Making sure that you're handling your stress level well. So something that's been a great tool to me in that is exercise, right? And I know all of these things are sort of basic, and I was thinking about a plant the other day, and just we're like plants. We're just living organisms, and so we need light, we need love, we need fresh air, we need water. It's pretty simple. We need nutrients, and that's really what we do to give ourselves the best chance to grow and to have a good optimal operating state. But many of us just, I think, forget about this, or we're like, yeah, I know this, and then you just don't do it. And it's very simple to just keep going along in patterns that have been established. But when we look at the definition of crazy, they say is to continue to do the same thing over and over and expect a different outcome. And I just wanted to, again, review some of these basic building blocks of good health and nutrition, so that people are reminded that it doesn't necessarily need some fancy, elaborate plan to get yourself going in a better direction. It's just some basic things. Again, making sure you get enough sleep, eating the right types of food for yourself. And if we're coming from an Ayurvedic perspective, I might be saying eat a good diet, but like each person is going to have optimal foods that are going to be best for their bodies. And so you can figure out a little bit more about that. I'm happy to consult with you over these things, or you can, Google and try to figure out which body type that you are and what would be the more sensible foods for you to eat. What else did I say? Getting enough exercise, getting enough water. And I know that there are some mixed statements on how much water to really intake, but I think it's basically just important to make sure that your urine's coming out clear. That's a good way to measure if you're having enough hydration in your body. And also for me, I can tell when I'm not having enough water because things like my lips or my hands will get dry and cracked. It's very simple. That just equals the fact that I'm not getting enough fluid into my body. And so I was reading about viruses, and if we are more hydrated, that gives ourselves a better chance at fending those from coming into our body, because our cells are then able to be fully functional when they're in the most hydrated state. And that does help to prevent sickness. So hydration is a huge thing in that. There are just so many little things that we can do for ourselves to give ourselves the upper hand, basically, when it comes to our health. Managing our weight. Again, that's been a big thing people have been asking me about a lot lately. And I think to myself, when everything else is in line, your weight just happens. And so I think people look at me and they're like, whoa, you must work out all the time, your body's in such good shape. And it's like, yes, I do work out all the time, but I think of the body as an outcome of that. It's not my goal. It's just something that comes along with all the other things that I do to keep myself healthy. And from my diet, drinking my celery juice, I don't drink alcohol, I don't really eat sugar, I don't do dairy, I don't do gluten. And these are all the things that I found that work for me. But one of the most beautiful things that I've learned on this journey is that our bodies are one of the most flexible things that we can really try a lot of different things to without actually breaking it first. And so what I would recommend is, if you're looking for some relief or some different ways to do things, try them. Don't be afraid. You can't really break the body. Again, you can take it into the wrong direction, but that will generally happen over a period of time. It won't be just a quick thing, and you can bring yourself back into the right direction. So just don't be scared to try different things. But hopefully this helps just resonate with you. Look at the time of year that we're coming into. This is always everyone's favorite time of year to restart and reset themselves. So use that momentum that we have coming into the new year to set yourself back to some basics if you're missing some of these simple steps, to help to give yourself a good foundation to build a stronger platform off of. I hope everyone also has enjoyed their Christmas with their friends and family. Don't forget laughter. That is another huge component in this, in just keeping yourself healthy and making sure that you're laughing enough and that you're not taking things too seriously. I used to be a whiz at taking things too seriously and can still go to that extent, but that can often be to my detriment and cause me a lot more anxiety and stress that I don't need in the first place. So I love you guys all very much. I really do appreciate all your support, your encouragement, and your love and your acceptance of me over these years that I've been here to share with you more about my health journey and just trying to get myself back into a healthful state. Hopefully it does give you the inspiration and motivation that you can use a little bit to get yourselves going there as well if you're not already there. Take care, everyone, and I will see you soon.